You want some gunpowder? I got the gunpowder. Hey guys, name's Ramsey. I run the Rajathon YouTube channel, and I am really excited to bring you guys a book review on Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. This was our book club pick for, wow, man, it was kind of like a 2-month running thing. I know me and Christy Lewis were doing it. I don't know if anybody else jumped on. Bookie Club wasn't getting a whole lot of love, but we're starting tomorrow, which you'll probably see this on Friday, so that'll be on Thursday, but we're starting Dreamer's Pool by Juliet Marlier, and that's going to be on the Discord. So there's a link in the description. Go ahead, join the Discord. There's a lot of people that chat in there about book stuff, memes, bunch of cool stuff we do there. But we're going to do the book club on there from now on because it's just getting a whole lot more people on there and a lot more conversations. So Promise of Blood is written by Brian McClellan, who was a student of Brandon Sanderson, who's one of my favorite authors, and he wrote my favorite book of all time, The Way of Kings. This was really, really cool. Has issues, and it needs a little bit of... you could tell it's definitely an early in the series novel. Think of like Brent Weeks and Night Angel. It had its problems, but the story was interesting, and you can tell where he was going with it. And then when Brent Weeks got to Lightbringer, it was really, really, really good. I'm assuming this series will kind of be that same way. The magic system's cool. You've got 3 opposing magic systems, and the universe is neat. There's a divinity system set up that is really cool and interesting, and you kind of go, oh, okay, what's going on here? What is this? And I found it really, really enjoyable. I want to get on to the next series in this one. I actually enjoyed it a whole lot more than The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie, because I just felt the characters had a bit more life to them. The magic was a bit more fun, where the Blade itself trilogy is more of a character-driven story. This is a good mix between plot and characters. And I found myself, by the end of the book, really just enjoying myself and enjoying how much this author put into it, and how one of the big complaints you probably see everywhere is that he didn't write a very compelling female through the whole story. The most interesting female is deaf, and she's really interesting, but you don't get her perspective at all. And the things she does are super, super cool, but it's kind of relegated to a side character role, which would be nice if we could have saw a little bit more of what she was thinking, especially since she's deaf and she doesn't communicate well. It'd be nice to see what she was actually in her brain, what was going on with her, and how she felt. I hope we get that in the second book, because I found her very, very interesting. There was another female character that she's a powder mage. She's supposed to be really cool, but we don't get a lot from her as well. So those are really my complaints. A couple of the world building stuff, and then he does this thing where 2 main characters have frustrating names. Especially when I was listening to it on an audiobook, they're similar enough that you kind of go, wait, who am I following right now? But when I was reading along while listening to the audiobook, I didn't have any trouble because they're spelled different enough that it doesn't really get you. So let me jump into the main characters. We have Tamis, which is the main commander of the Powder Mages, which is one of the magic systems we have here. And you have his son, Taniel. Those are the 2 names that are hard to differentiate, Tamis and Taniel, especially when a narrator with a British accent is trying to give it to you there. You're Tamis and then Taniel. And so I had a little bit of trouble with that one. And then the name of the place that they live in is Adro. And then the other main character that we follow their perspective is Adamat. So, like, a lot of times I thought Adamat's name was Adro because they talk about, oh, I'm doing this for the good of Adro. And that was a bit confusing. I wish he would have maybe thrown a D in there somewhere, or a F, just to kind of, but the names were T's and A's, and it just, well, that sounds kind of dirty. I think with the naming, he was just fond of T's and he was fond of A's, and that's what he named everything. Tamis, see, I'm already messing up. Tamis was starting a war sort of, kind of. He killed the king. That's like how you start the beginning of the book. He kills the king, and topples the government, kills all the nobles and their firstborn sons. And through doing that, he toppled the old government system. Well, immediately you get Adamat's perspective, where he's coming to the castle, doesn't know this is going on, and he meets Tamis, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to figure out this thing that happened." So the other magic system that they have is called Privileged, and Privileged Cabal protects the king. As Tamis was killing the king and his Privileged Cabal, as they were dying, they said, "You can't break Krezimir's promise," and they died. So Tamis hires Adamat and says, "I need you to figure out what this means." And so Adamat, who's a detective, is then working for the new government to try to figure out what's going on. And so you follow his detective story, you follow the government story, and then you follow Taniel, who is Tamis' son, and is coming back from the Fatrasted Wilds with Karpol, who's the deaf character I was talking about earlier. She's really, really interesting. And before the book ever starts, there's actually an alternate, if my copy had it in the back of the book, there's an alternate prologue where it talks about Laura and Taniel separate. They were engaged, and it's part of the storyline that's pretty important, but it happens before the story, and the original prologue had that in it. And so when Taniel's coming back, he's pretty upset, and so he's dealing with the breakup of a engagement that they've been basically together since they were kids. And so he's got Karpol with him. He saved Karpol's life. She has the blood debt, and she's watching his back. So they together are. Then there was one privilege left that they weren't able to kill in the Cabal. So they're trying to track her down, and Tamis gives Taniel that task. So that's kind of your first chapter or two, like right there. That's the where we story, and it's any more than that, I'd be giving you spoilers. Really, they're just trying to build government and trying to topple the old king system, kind of like it was very reminiscent of like the French Revolution, where the military took over, killed the king. They even used guillotines to kill the king, and took over, but with magic. I want to go into the magic systems a little bit because they were really, really, really cool. I may even do a breakdown on like the different magic systems in this world, like I did with Lightbringer, because I just really enjoyed the magic system. Powder mages. Powder mages have the ability to basically ingest gunpowder. Like either they snort it, like they'll put a little bit of gunpowder on their hand, or they'll eat it, and it puts them in a powder trance. So basically the gunpowder is like cocaine, steroids, magic juice that gives them the ability to, like one of the things that Tamis can do is he can throw a handful of bullets in the air, and if he's in his powder trance, it's basically like he fired those bullets out of a gun and can like kill a bunch of people all around him. And then Taniel, his son, they call him Taniel Two-Shot because he can load 2 bullets in one gun and kill 2 people at the same time. And he can like nudge the bullet while it's in the air. He can also shoot for like 3 miles because he can nudge the bullet up and keep it going for a long time. So, different powder mages have different levels of magic. And then you have Nact, which very early on we meet a character where his Nact is basically gives them one powerful magical ability. And it can be different for everybody. Like it's just very, very wide and very varied. And the character we meet right away, he doesn't have to sleep. That's his Nact, or Knack. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but it's like Nact, something like that. And like he doesn't have to sleep. And there's other people where they can do like one magical ability. Adamat, he's a Nact, and he doesn't forget anything ever. He never forgets. And so, like, different little magical things that they can do. And then the privileged I was talking about, they protect the king. They are in a royal cabal that basically they sit up in the palace and they keep an eye on him. But they have to wear these special gloves with these runes on them. And when they do that, basically they're like super wizards. And so if you cut their hands off, they can't do magic anymore. The privileged aren't well described, but basically they're trump cards. They're big and powerful, and the powder mages have to use their abilities to kill them, and that's really where the clash is. Powder mages and privilege don't get along, and they don't want to be around each other. For a long time, privileged killed all the powder mages. And then now powder mages are kind of gaining popularity and becoming more of their own thing. So that's a big part of the whole idea as well. And then Carpole has like a weird voodoo magic that we don't really know exactly where her magic comes from yet. And she's mute, so she can't really tell us about it, but she's done some things. Man, I don't really want to go into it because it's really cool to see the things she does. But it's sort of like voodoo magic. And so you have 4 different magic types, and they all, if they can do magic, they all have what they call the third eye. And so they can see into, what's it called? It's called like the ether or the ether or something like that. And when they can see into that, they can like recognize one another and see like the magic abilities that they're using and how they pull their magic from whatever. So you have to have the third eye to be a true magician in this world, which is cool. I mean, that's a really neat way. It lets people know that you actually are a magician if you have the third eye and can sense that kind of stuff. And it allows them to kind of know, hey, I know you have magic. You know, we're gonna square off because like the magic people are basically the people we follow through the whole thing. So like they see another magic person, they're like, all right, let's fight. But it was fun. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I want to read more into it. I want to know more about what's going on. The gods in this world are really, really neat. We don't get to see them very much. There's a couple times that we're meeting some gods, but it's not like well explained. You definitely are wanting to get into it that as you get through the story some more, and I'm really excited to read the story some more. I found myself flying through it. I didn't want to put it down once I started reading it. Took me a while to get to it, but once I did start reading, I was like, man, I wish I'd have picked this up earlier. So I recommend it to anybody who's a Sanderson fan or anybody who likes a interesting like military gun shoot 'em up fantasy story, because that's what this is. It's a gun shoot 'em up fantasy story that he was actually a student of Brandon Sanderson, so you can definitely see the tie-in of it as well. And I'm glad that I read it, and I can't wait to read the next 2. So thank you guys. Definitely, again, follow the Discord if you want to join in the book club. And if you want to just chat, we do a whole bunch of chatting on there. We talk about movies, we talk about books, we talk about just life stuff. So everybody on the Discord I have talked to, they really enjoy just the ability to talk with other people who enjoy very similar things. And if you're a video game fan, I also play video games and use that for playing video games. So maybe we could play some games together. So talk to you later. I hope to see you guys in the Discord, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye. So Tamis hires